Hey, yo, Arin, you up?
Yeah, you know I am, baby. Yeah.
We're here in sunny Los LA. I wanted to record a video where I just interviewed people, and Arin was top of my list because he's a sweet, wholesome boy,
Wow.
and I love him very much.
I was top of your morning.
Wow, top of my list. And we wanted to do something with really nice cameras, which we have, and it makes us look much better than we actually look in real life.
Well,
so
we should be clear that they're rentals. I love how right when we started, the garbage truck came by.
Yo, garbage truck, you up? Yo, ASL, bro.
Wait, is that actually? Oh, it's like a moving truck. Okay.
Oh man, they're here to take the cameras away. That's it. That's all I got.
That's fine. How are you doing, Sean?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. I love LA. We don't get to come here often and hang out often because I'm always at home and I want to record stuff with everybody. I'm like, okay.
I didn't want to crunch it on camera.
His fake tooth.
I realized I was crunching it.
I always want to record stuff with people from LA, like you guys. And I'm like, fuck, I'm all the way in Brighton. I can't do shit.
And then just come here.
I try, but I'm so busy all the time. And then I come here and I have to stop uploading because I'm so busy doing shit.
Nah, I feel that. This whole year has just been like nonstop work for me.
Yeah. I said that last year. We did tour and I was like, okay, next year I'm just going to clear and not travel as much. I've been traveling like every month so far this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Like where?
We went to PAX East earlier, then we went to May and April was crazy because May had PAX East, and then we got back from that. 2 days later we went to TwitchCon in Berlin because they finally did it in Europe. And then we came back, and then 4 days after that we went to Japan for 2 weeks.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was amazing.
That's for the Pikachu thing, right?
Yeah, Pikachu and Godzilla. So Warner Brothers flew us out for that. Had a great time.
Oh, nice. Did you see the new Godzilla?
Yeah.
It sucks.
It does. There's some cool monster moments in it, but I mean, the other one sucks as well. It's at least better.
Oh, yeah, it's better than the first one for sure.
But this one is, they were like, oh, fucking noise.
Is that really?
Los LA, baby.
It's like right. This wasn't happening at all when y'all were setting up.
Yeah. It's better than hearing the sound of your own voice working, dog.
Oh.
Now you're just out here with the birds and the bees and the trees. I was telling people that recently, that just going outside and just like watching the wind go through trees is just so relaxing.
I think about that a lot. I think about like the concept of a vacation, where it was. I've never told this. I've actually never told this story publicly, but Susie and I went on a cruise like a year ago, and you know, I've been on a couple cruises before, and it's like you go on a cruise, eat some good food, watch some shows, you know, go on the excursions, go to the beach and wherever we're going, Baja California.
I've never been on a cruise, but you did like a stop cruise, like you go around and you stop at different areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were just sleeping. We would just get up and eat and then sleep. We'd sleep for like 16 hours, and we were like 3 days in, and we were sort of beating ourselves up over it a little bit. We were like, why? We missed with a complete location that we went to. We didn't go out of the boat at all.
Yeah.
And we were just like, why aren't we doing this? So I went and I took a dump, and
Sick.
and then for some reason while I was taking a dump, it hit me, and I came out and I was like, we do so many things in our lives. Like we're always doing interesting things. That like to be able to just be somewhere and fucking sleep uninterrupted with like the waves and and then once we accepted that, we just fucking slept and ate the whole rest of the trip and didn't see a single show, didn't go to a single location, and it was like one of the best vacations ever.
It kind of takes you to get out of your environment, because I always find when I'm on planes that I just love being on planes, because then I realize, oh, I don't have to do shit.
Yeah, you're
distracted. I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
So now I get to catch up on all the movies that I've missed, and I get to actually like sit back and sleep if I want to, and you don't realize how much it takes out of it, because it's fun to do. Like all the stuff you're doing, like you said, is interesting.
Yeah.
It's good stuff to be doing. It's a good complaint to have in a way. And I was talking to Brent about this last night, where they were trying to get him to take like a week off. And I was like, no, you need like an actual week, like where you do nothing. You need to actively do nothing. You can't just sit back and be like, yeah, I'm taking time off, but like thinking about work. You're still working at that point.
Change of location or
Yeah,
change of scenery or change of activity.
Yeah.
Like even when I was I did that dance show, Dance Showdown. Mm-hmm. It was like a dance reality show with YouTubers. I had to do nothing but that for a week and a half, and like it was just right down the street. So I'd come home and I'd just practice dancing and go to bed, and then wake up and then go shoot for 8 hours, and then come home and practice dancing and go to bed. Mm-hmm. And there was something almost vacation-like about it because it was just one thing. It was just thinking about one thing. Yeah. For all week, and I didn't have to think about what videos were going up. It was all taken care of, and so it was like a mind refresh a little bit. It felt like rest. That was even me. Though it was incredible work.
That was me when I came here last year because I was so miserable with my content. I was like, I don't enjoy doing this every day anymore. And the people at home can obviously tell when you're off and you're feeling something because they just watch everything. And then when I came here, I was like, okay, I'm taking a week off, but I'm actually like not going to look at social media. I'm not going to look at emails. I'm just going to sit back and hang out with all of you guys. And actually, because I have people at home to hang out with, but when you have so many people to hang out with, it's like somebody every night. So it was nice to kind of like recharge and be around people every single day because I miss that in Brighton sometimes. No fault of the people there because everyone's just busy. Everyone's doing their own thing. And even for me, I'm so busy doing my own thing. But here, it was like an excuse to do nothing for a whole week.
Right.
And then by the end of it, I was like, oh man, I'm so recharged. I actually like recording again instead of being stuck in it.
Would you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
I always said that I was extroverted because I felt like I had like an explosive personality. Mm-hmm. Or like a more outward personality. And I like hanging around people, and I think people recharge me. I think being around people is cool because it's nice to bounce ideas off people and hear other people's opinions and thoughts and feelings, and it kind of grounds me and reminds me of more important things than just recording all the time because you get stuck in your house recording. Yeah. So actually being outside and being with people, I think is nice. But then I do have my moments where I'm like, I don't want to see anybody today. Right. But I'm sure most extroverted people are like that.
Would you consider it like, I guess the definition I've always heard is like, do you feel energized after you like hung out with people?
Yeah. I think the thought of being around other people for extended periods of time is more appealing to me than being on my own for extended periods of time. Wow. And I think that's why I enjoy tours so much, because not only is it like a crowd is there giving you energy all the time, and kind of like validating the work that you've put into it, but also being around you guys on the tour bus and having like a little family for 2 weeks.
There's something to be said for sharing a space with other people. Yeah. I think there's something to like just being in like a community where you're just sort of not necessarily like interacting, but just feeling the energy of people around you is super, at least to me, is important. And that's why I like touring as well. It's just like...
Do you think you're extroverted as well then?
I guess so. I used to think I was an introvert for the longest time. But I think it's just because like my family didn't understand me a whole lot. So I was constantly like hiding.
Yeah, I feel that.
To not feel like a weirdo. I would like go online and talk to friends online because they sort of understood who I was. And when I think about it, it's like I was always like on Skype with people or in like a voice chat or something while I was drawing or working on something. So I was always surrounding myself with people.
Yeah, I think I had a big epiphany like that last year after the tour when we came back from Europe and everything, because we went back and I saw where I grew up, the town, the super small village where I grew up, and then I went back to the cabins where I started off YouTube, and it was just it like messed up my head because it was such a like clash of like confronting everything that you were and seeing where you came from and everything, which is good because it reminds me of where I am now and how lucky I am and fortunate I am to do what I do. But seeing all of that stuff and confronting all of that kind of like got to me a small bit, and then going back to my house and after going through like a breakup and everything and being in the house alone for the first time, I kind of like just sat there and broke down. I mean, I like called you at one point to be like, hey, I'm not doing so good. And I was like super anxious, and I found myself walking up the stairs to my bedroom one time and I kind of just like collapsed on the stairs with like an anxiety attack in my chest. It was just horrible.
Yeah, well I feel like in those moments is when sort of the insecurities come out the most, right?
Yeah.
Because then you sort of have to. I think busy people often busy themselves because if they sort of slow down, they have to face something that they don't want to face, right?
Yeah.
I think you were in that point at that point. It seemed like all the things that you were telling me about or asking me about or opening up about was all sort of stuff that you were afraid of or scared of.
Yeah. I was definitely afraid to confront myself in a way. And it's like coming, what it's like coming back from tour and having all that energy, and then you kind of have to sit down and record normally. It's like, man, where's all the people gone?
Yeah, we used to call it con depression.
Yeah, post-tour blues.
Yeah, because you go to, for me when I was a kid, it was going to cons, right? Like I started going to cons when I was like 14, and being around all that energy and like stuff that makes so much sense to you and you relate to so much, and people who like they're all into the same thing, so like you could literally strike up a conversation with anybody.
Yeah.
And then just that like dark drive home where it's just, McDonald's and like plumbing companies where it's like, this sucks.
It's probably part of the reason why, for me, that's why I started doing YouTube videos. So it's like, I watch other YouTubers play games. It's like, I want to do that. I want like people to hang out with and watch my stuff and share my opinions and actually like be friends with people, because I was miserable. I was on my own. I had nobody else to talk to, and I was going to college, but none of the friends in college like played games as much as I did. You always kind of feel like the freak in a way. It's like, I just want other people who get what I do to hang out with.
So when you started, it was like when you started, you were in that cabin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably like were you interacting a lot with fans when it started?
Yeah, like every comment I would talk to and try and like make videos for the people who were watching. And I didn't even know it was really a job when I started off doing it. I kind of just did it because it was fun to do and I was bored and needed a creative outlet. I wanted my life to go somewhere. So miserable where I was. And
was there a sense of that there was like a goal to it? Like was 16 million subscribers like one day?
No. When you start off doing it and some people start watching, you're like, man, wouldn't it be cool if like 1 million people did watch it? But you never think that it would actually happen.
Right.
Or at least going into it, I was just happy because I wanted to figure out like, how did they put the face cam in the corner? How did they record the game and then the face and then do the audio on top of that? And it was like a puzzle to put together, and I loved backwards engineering it. And each video was like, okay, I'm slightly getting better at this. My quality is improving. My internet sucks, so I couldn't put up like super HD content.
So you were like wow, I can't think of another word though. But it's not. You're like a tinkerer of like YouTube stuff.
I guess, yeah. I always like how things work. It was more so because I enjoyed the idea of making a project every day. It was cool to like put your stamp on something and be like, I made that. Nobody needs to watch it, but now I have something complete. I have something that actually gave meaning and worth to my day. And it was the same with music, like doing drums. You can like listen to a song and like listen to how the drums are going, and you're like, okay, how did they do that? And you're trying to like work it out in your brain. So I guess I like tinkering with things, but I have a crappy attention span for them. So I think that's why YouTube kind of stuck with me, because it was the first time I did something where I was like, no, I'm decent at this. I'm good at this. I can actually follow it through.
At what point did you feel that way?
Like a year and a half in. It was kind of like a compounding thing where I was doing it and it was, okay, I was making videos. I was doing like Grand Theft Auto 5 or whatever. And then I was like, that's not really going anywhere. I'll make it like, I was going to lessen the amount of videos I was uploading. I was like, maybe I just won't really do it. I'll do it whenever I have an idea. And then like the Felix shout out happened, and it wasn't so much like the linchpin where everything came exactly from that, but it was definitely a good motivating factor. I was like, if somebody that large watches my stuff and validates it and thinks it's good, then I must be on the right track to something.
Was it scary?
Yeah, of course it was.
when Felix gave you that shout out?
Yeah. It was a good scary. It was like a lot of anxiety, but it was it was a thing where I'm like, okay, I must be doing something right. And then you kind of just work harder at it. And I definitely took my studies less seriously at that point, but it was fun to keep tinkering with the channel and trying to, because that was the moment where I was like, okay, I need to put way more effort into this because now more people are watching it.
Right.
So I think it made me better at what I was doing.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what was the biggest change?
I think the confidence in what I was doing was different. My confidence in editing stuff out was better. I became more boisterous. I became like, it was almost like I puffed up my chest and was like, okay, now I can do it properly. I started acting more like myself. The accent kind of came through a bit more. I leaned into it a little harder. I got a little more fun out of it. I got a little more energetic out of it.
That makes sense.
I mean, you must have had those points as well when like you started off with the animation stuff and then somebody watches it and then it explodes and somebody else then is like, hey, we'll pay you to do this thing if you animate this, and that kind of like self-affirms you and validates you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's mostly validation, I guess. It's just like you just hope somebody understands, you know, a part of you. You know, I feel like if I make a cartoon, it's a part of who I am a little bit. You know, it's sort of showing a little bit of my sense of humor, or like what I like to do, or I don't know, things that I like. And for somebody else to say like, hey, that was funny is like a connection that I think I craved when I was younger, because especially in the community that I was in, it was so like, there was a lot of like cliques, there was a lot of smaller groups of people that I think were, you know, in a lot of ways like hateful, or they would ostracize they're constantly at war or making fun of each other. And to be able to sort of like send out a signal of like, hey, I would like people to be a part of what I'm doing, and then to get feedback back that's like, I like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, you know, it's like my existence isn't just floating around uselessly, like I can do something.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants that. They want to put a stamp on something to feel part of the world rather than just drifting through it where everyone's going to forget them. Everyone wants to be remembered for something.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know that I think about stuff like that as much as it isn't like the now. I mean, I imagine like thinking forward into a world where like Game Grumps is like behind me, right? And like my cartoons are behind me or whatever, and I'm an old man, and it's like, it makes me a little sad, like immediately. It's like, oh, you know, ooh, that seems lonely. But then I think about, it seems lonely, right? Like, what am I getting out of what I'm doing right now that makes me feel less lonely, you know? If I'm an old man in the future and I'm not doing this anymore, I would hope that I would make an effort to like build a community around me that's not related to work, and not be lonely in that way. Because the fact that a bunch of eyes are on me, and like I can go on a live show and see like, you know, 3,000 people in the audience, and they're all, and then I'm walking through the city afterwards or whatever, and they're like, wow, I just saw the show and that was great, I love you. And it's like, that's definitely giving me something that like in my waking life or my non-entertainment, my personal life, like I'm not getting completely. So I guess I would make an effort to try to get that without having to put on a show all the time.
Do you think that is the way it is now? Do you think people are only around you because of the work you do?
No. I mean, that is, yeah, I mean, I've had that thought before, right? But like, I like to think if I would still maintain a relationship with most of the people that are in my life because of my work, if I didn't have the work anymore. And in a lot of ways, it sort of allows me to do certain things that I wouldn't do in my personal life, being in charge or being a part of some kind of collaborative system, right? Because like, if it's for the work or if it's for the the health of the channel or whatever, then I can justify like having a desire or a want, right? So it's like, I want this to be a certain way because, you know, I've gotten this far building this thing, so it makes sense that I would want this thing. But like in my personal life, it's tough for me to like carve out time for myself to say like, I want to go here because that's just what I want.
Yeah.
So I think there was sort of like an effort to, or subconscious effort to like build something that allows me to be myself in a way that I wasn't getting in my personal life.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because when you start off animating and everything, it's a different feeling than now. Like the purposes for doing things change over time, and now that you have employees and everything, obviously you're going to do things a little differently because there's people depending on you more than just you in your room drawing, or you and somebody else like sitting in a room and just gaming and editing on your own and everything. Do you think there was a hard transition going from that transition into like, okay, I'm doing it for fun, and then money's coming into it, and then transitioning into like a more boss role? Like when did one end and the other one begin, and how was the transition across them?
I think the transition was pretty quick. It was when Dan came on the show, because then it wasn't a partnership anymore. I was the sole owner of Game Grumps, and then everyone else was an employee, and then I put myself on salary as well. So that was when I was like, okay, it's time to really take this seriously and be a leader in this space. It's tougher. It's tougher to be like as free, because I think most, you know, in the least pretentious way possible, like most artists want to be free in a way to create and just let inspiration that comes flow through you. But yeah, in a lot of ways, being in a leadership position or having a lot of responsibility in that way is less free. I mean, it comes with, you know, its own immense amount of benefits, both personal and to growing a business. But it's like it's tougher to just be like, hey, you know, even though I have like 5 meetings I need to do today, I'll just sit down and draw something. Like it's tougher to carve out that kind of creative time just for the hell of it, even though it was built on just for the hell of it, you know? Like Game Grumps was just a thing we did for fun because we had free time, you know?
Do you ever want to transition back more to that, like scale down and scale back everything and just kind of do it more for the freeing aspect of it?
Well, I think that's just a natural, I think it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
I would probably die young if I kept doing it this way for the rest of my life. It feels like a thing that has a course that it is running, and it'll probably end at some point. I mean, that being said, like that's just like the large scale version of it. I also imagine a world where like Dan and I get together every month and record something and just put it out there for the rest of our lives, you know, just because it is truly something that is fun to do. And I love collaborating with Dan in that way. I think we have a great chemistry, and I think we create a really cool, interesting and fun output. But I don't want to say content. That cheapens it so much in my opinion, but like, I don't know, just a piece of something.
I get what you mean.
I've had so many people like, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? Like we, in terms of analytics, our channel has been remarked upon by people who have like compared analytics with other channels like as an anomaly. Like our fans, for some reason, are like some of the most dedicated fans in terms of like that they watch all the time, or they watch all the way through, or like just weird little details like that. So I feel like there's something that we're doing that that makes sense in a way, even though it's not like 40 million subscribers. Like we're still there's some kind of engine that's going to keep running for the rest of our lives.
When it comes with 40 million, it's like there's diminishing returns after a while. You always see it, like you hit your plateau view-wise or whatever, but the subscribers just keep growing because that's just the way YouTube is. So it's, in most cases, I think a lot of channels would prefer to have like a subscriber base that's completely dedicated and watches all the stuff, and it's more consistent, it's less stressful, you're not riding a trend or trying to go viral with every single thing you upload.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it helps to go gangbusters on YouTube, but it just burns you out too quickly.
I mean, we did that treadmill, and 100% it was a little too much. Like it was exhausting, and it felt less fun. I think finding the sweet spot where we're just kind of playing the games that both we like and the audience like, which is a much smaller pool, but and it sort of makes our channel less like diverse, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just. I don't want to kill myself, Like,
yeah, please don't. What's your goal going forward then? Because it's easy. I think for me, I got very aimless with what I was doing last year, and that was part of the reason why I was so miserable. Because you're just on that treadmill and you're burning yourself out, but then you realize like, what am I working towards? Am I just doing it for doing it? Like, what are you excited about next?
What did you decide?
I decided that my value in my channel and my numbers is not as important as my value in myself.
Yeah.
And my life balance was completely off. I was working to work, and I was proud of my work ethic. But then I stopped and realized, like, why am I proud of this? It's not admirable to work yourself into a fucking hole. It's not admirable to work yourself into the bone and just have the same content to prove for it. So I scaled back and did one video a day, and now I actually have time to go outside and sit down and have coffee with my girlfriend and have fun and go see movies that I normally wouldn't have time for, or go to like the Japan trip and things like that I always turned down because I just didn't have the time.
Right.
And tour kind of broke that cycle in me, and now I don't upload every single day if I don't have to. Like while being here, my schedule's been so busy that I'm like, a couple of days I can miss. That's not the end of the world.
Something felt like you like lost value if you didn't work as hard?
I don't know. I think my work ethic was the thing that defined me. Not so much the quality of the content, it was just the quantity of it. And being able to pump out that while other YouTubers were struggling to hit schedules and stuff like that made me very proud.
Yeah.
But then, again, when you're doing it and you're not making the best content just because you're farting it out all the time, it's like, then why am I doing this? I had like 4.5 years of like 2,700 videos back to back without skipping a single time slot. I was like, that's great, but I think I can rest on what I've created and just have a bit more fun with it instead of taking it so seriously all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, again, YouTube loves numbers and consistency and frequency, and it probably would have kept the channel going up and up and up and up. And the channel's not suffering or anything, but being able to scale it back and slow it down has definitely done wonders for my mental health.
Right.
Which I started to realize was way more important than anything anybody else could ever say about me.
Yeah, of course. Was that a goal to grow?
Kind of a byproduct, because when it's growing, you just want to see the numbers still be healthy.
Right.
It wasn't a thing of like, I want to be the best YouTuber ever and outpass all these other people, but it was like, if the numbers are growing, that means I'm still doing it right. And if they start to slide, then maybe I'm doing something wrong. So I had to break that mentality in my head, which I think a lot of YouTubers struggle with. If you're not growing, then you're not doing anything.
It's like the moment it goes like this, then you get panic attack.
Sets in.
Yeah.
Because you have the viewers then who are like, well, I'm not going to watch you anymore because you're just boring now. Because then they realize they were there because you were a hot thing. You're a hot topic, and they just stay there for the numbers, and they're part of the cool thing that's growing. And then when it's not growing as much anymore, they're like, no, you suck now. Like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'm just...
Maybe I've always sucked.
Yeah, maybe your perception just kind of changed. And I'm not like as boisterous as I used to be because, I don't know, I realized I was trying to please everybody and make everybody who watched happy, and giving over everything of myself to other people and leaving nothing for myself. I was trying to be like, no, Jack and Sean are the same thing, and it's super honest and genuine, which it was. But then I realized, at the end of the day, there's no line, there's no boundary, there's no limit, and
Right.
everything's up for grabs. And when you're the product and you're the thing people are coming for and you're marketable, then you have no personality left for yourself or the people in your personal life. And that was a big thing that I had to come to terms with. And now I'm like, no, I don't share everything with everybody all the time. I don't tweet every single thought I have. I don't Instagram every moment I'm doing. I'm like, no, it's just nice to do things for myself.
Yeah. That's something I never got to the point where I gave up, like social media and stuff. I'll be on it all the time. It's definitely a problem and persists to be a problem in my life. This is just the presence of social media. But like the oversharing, I never got to that point. There was the only point that it got to, which I feel like was a healthy thing, was it was just a project to try to come up with something funny every day, and I'd at least have one tweet every day. And that was like, for a good like 2 or 3 months I did that. And that was honestly kind of fun because it was like a creative project almost.
Yeah.
It was like, how can I turn this funny thing that I saw into 160 characters?
And it's a different way of interacting with it as well. You're trying to entertain rather than just share your day.
But that was also coupled with, I got an app called Hootsuite that you could choose what like feeds you had access to, and I chose not to have access to any of them. So I literally just had the ability to post.
Oh.
And then that was it. So it was like, post, all right. I guess I'll check back in a week to see how that tweet did. Which was great.
No, I highly recommend
go back to
anybody at home to fuck social media. I mean, I know I'm on it all the time as well, but at the same time, I know when it's messing me up. I know when I go to social media and I see a feed and it's like everybody's talking about this one thing and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that today.
Well, it just doesn't allow, I mean, me personally, it doesn't allow me to be bored. Like, being bored is how I got here. Like, just sitting around and being like, I got nothing to do and I'm full of energy. Like, I got to figure out something.
Yeah.
And instead, it's like this all day. You know, I would be bored if I didn't have this.
Yeah.
And if I was bored, then I would be doing something.
Yeah.
I'd be achieving something. I'd be building something. I'd be creating something.
Boredom's great for creativity.
Yes, 100%. Or like learning an instrument or just anything.
Yeah.
Having a hobby. Fucking hobby. My hobby is my phone.
Yeah. It's like, here, go perform for everybody. Like Bo Burnham said in his special, it's like, it's an answer to everybody's want to perform for other people. So now it's like, here, perform for everybody all the time, always. So nobody's actually like trying to do anything more. Because it's like, I can just make a funny tweet and get validated through the likes.
But it's funny because that's not even my relationship to it. Like, I barely post.
Yeah.
I use social media for like jokes that I come up with that I'm like, oh, that's fucking funny. Or like promoting things or helping other people promote things, like helping friends get their art out there or something. I mean, I have Cutie Saturday, which is a whole other thing, but like it's all consumption for me. It's just something to look at.
Yeah. I definitely consume it more than I think most people do. It's easier to consume it than it is to... There's a lot of intimidation I found with some people. I met a bunch of YouTubers who were like, I don't tweet that often because it's so intimidating to come up with something funny. And I was like, okay, is that what you think social media is? You're supposed to be funny on it? It's like most people just shit out their thoughts in however many characters. So it's interesting to see how different people interact with it. But I've definitely gotten better at just pulling back and being like, you know what? I'm not getting anything out of just sharing everything in my life with everybody.
Well, getting instant feedback on what is essentially yourself is completely unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I write something, if I like sit down and I'm like, okay, this is going to be, and the whole purpose of this is this, and here's the theme, and all right, it's a thing, and I put it out there, like, yeah, it'd be interesting to get some feedback on that. But if I'm literally just, it's a thought or like something, and I put it out there, and then immediately people are trying to make a joke out of it or referencing something that I did a long time ago, or it's like it so invalidates like your very existence.
Yeah.
That it's so like triggers that like dance monkey dance kind of mentality of like,
Yeah.
like, oh, they're just here for the show. They don't care. They don't really care.
Yeah. I've definitely had that. It's like, you say your intro? Can you play Happy Wheels? Where's the green hair?
You know, what's funny is I haven't had a whole lot of... When I made cartoons was actually like the worst time for like people, say the thing.
It's more catchphrasey.
Yeah.
There's less of it, so those one things stick in your head a whole
Yeah,
lot more.
yeah.
Now you say too much shit.
Yeah.
It's too much talking.
There's too much out there. I forget it too. People will come up to me and they'll quote stuff and I'll think they came up with it. I'm like, that's funny. And they're like, oh, it's from Game Grumps. I'm like,
I'm funny.
oh, wow. Sound like an asshole now.
Wow. We kind of got to get out of here anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it was nice.
It's like sitting down for an excuse to do something all together. It's like, what are we going to talk about? And then it's like, classic YouTubers. Let's talk about ourselves for so long.
Yeah.
But it's nice because we always have these conversations anyway. And then whenever people sit down to do interviews, like, how did you start your channel?
Well, there's just... all you can talk about is yourself when all you're doing is working. You know? Like, there's... Can we talk about a movie I saw recently? Like, what was the last fucking movie I saw?
Yeah.
What was the last video game I played for fun? Chrono Trigger? But it's a 20-year-old game.
Yeah. Well, it is that thing where when you find... I realized last year, again, I realized I was working too much when all I had to talk about was work.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I have no personality outside of what I'm doing for other people.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why it's nice hanging out with you guys, because I feel like we can actually talk about stuff that's not just that. We talk about everything.
Well, also, there's something interesting that a animator friend of mine said a long time ago. He usually makes cartoons, but he made a short film. And he was like, the funny thing about making the short film was like, I had stories. Like we were on location and we were doing stuff, and I remember the day that like the weird guy came up and was like, "What are you doing?" And this thing fell over and we had to fix that, and like there's just tons of things that happened. Mm-hmm. But when I make a cartoon, it's like, what stories do I have? The time I ordered pizza, for the 12th time, and drank my 30th can of Coke. Like there's no stories there. Yeah. So it's sort of lends itself in a situation like this. Like I have tons of touring stories, but like Game Grumps, you sit down and play a video game, and like the only stories that I could tell are literally in the episode. Yeah. Like, so that sort of explains a little bit why it's like typical YouTuber, we're just talking about ourselves. Like it's just nothing else right now. Like there's it's just our worlds that we've built that we have to maintain.
So what you're saying is be the hero of your own story. Wow.
It's beautiful. Well, I don't mean to say that there's anything wrong with it. I maybe I'm coming off as like that it's a negative thing. It's just how it is.
No,
like,
no, I get you.
I don't feel selfish talking about it because it's my experience with my life. If I wasn't doing it and I was doing something else and I was, visiting other people and looking into their lives, I'd probably be talking about that stuff. Mm-hmm. And those experiences and sharing other people's experiences that they've shared with me. Yeah. But that doesn't happen often.
I think that's why, going back to like hanging out with people, I think that's why I'm more extroverted, because I like hearing other people's stories.
Yeah,
I like hearing their lives. I like living vicariously through them sometimes, and it rounds out life, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's no, if it's completely insular, it's lonely. Yeah. And boring. But if you have other people in your life, it's cool. Yeah. Isn't that right, Tuxter?
Tucker has no shirt on.
I was just
He's just distracting in the background.
Well, because they said they were out here at like 9 a.m. setting up these sweet camera shots. Yeah. Because it's not just, it looks like it's just us. We got like a whole shade system that they set up with like twine and I don't know what the hell they're called, ropes. But and then like these shades for them and cameras and sandbags and sound.
Yeah, it's entirely too much equipment for what this was supposed to be.
Well, that was the point of it, right? You're just gonna try to.
We were just wanting to dick around with nice cameras and
Why
equipment.
not? I wonder how it looks.
Well, we're going to find out in 4 years when it's edited.
Oh, snap. Who's going to edit it?
Jesus.
Jesus.
Is it Jesus?
My homeboy up there.
All right, well, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
This is delightful. I had a great time.
It was fun.
You can find Aaron on Game Grumps and Ego Raptor online. Buy their shirts and support the arts.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
What?
That's my outro now.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom, for birthing me.
Yeah.
I had a massive head.
Thank you, Jesus. #1 boy up there.
Thank you, Martin Scorsese, for directing the shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Love all around.
Can't believe he agreed to do that.
I know, crazy.
Seems so busy. There's like a lot going on with that guy.
But thank you, cameramen. Appreciate you guys. Can this end already? Oh, I'm so sweaty.
Yeah, I'm a little sweaty too. I'm a little sweaty boy.
I say cut.
Thanks, guys. Is it rude if we bail? Because we have a meeting that we're currently late for.
That was fun. It was a good.
But yeah, seriously, thank you guys.
Still filming?
Yeah, well, you're so pretty. Stop it, you.
Just get me at my best.
Boy.
Get some like water shots. Get some establishing shots.
I just want you with sunglasses on.
Can we get a still of this for the promotional material?
Wow. Are my sunglasses up here?
I don't know. Were they on the table?
Extremely hot jacket now.
And it's not even on you yet. It's going to get hotter.
Ooh.
Alright. Yeah, we got business.
I got business time. I think we're going to do this the most awkward way. That was fun.